Okay, so hello everyone. This is the ER diagram of our project, that is car rental system. So let's begin with this. We have employee entity having name, driver license, address ID and phone number as its attribute, and every employee has an address, so the employee and address entity have a has relationship. Similarly, the customer has phone number, name, driver license and address ID at its attribute, and every customer has an address, so customer and address entity have a has relationship between them. The customer pays a price or rental for the cars they rent. That is why the customer and the rental entity have a pays relationship between them. The rental entity has driver license, class code, return odometer, drop location, from date, to date, tank status, and initial odometer as its attribute. And it also requires the location of the cars. So the rental entity and address have two relationship which are has a to and has a from. Now the promotion rate is also applied on the rental of the cars. So the promotion rate and rental have a for relationship. The promotion rate has amount, duration, class code and percentage as its attribute, and the promotion rate is applicable for a particular class of cars. So there is a for relationship between these two entities. Now the car class has class description, class code, car location as its attribute, and the car class is required to locate the car. So it has the address and car class have a located at relationship between them. Now drop-off charge is also applicable for a particular class of cars and also varies from class to class. So these two entities have a for relationship between them, and drop-off charge has class code, from location and to location as its attribute, and drop-off charge and address have two relationship which are from and to. So this was all about ER diagram of our car rental system. Now coming to EER diagram, that is enhanced entity relationship. So rest all the things are same except we have an employee type subclass of superclass employee. That is, the employee type entity has is vice president, is marketing guy, and is manager as its attribute. And similarly, we have a car subclass extended from car class which has attributes model, car ID, make, year, license plate, and color. So this was all about the ER and EER diagrams of our project.
So now we will discuss about the schema. We have 7 entities here. So we'll talk about them one by one. So first is employee entity. Employee entity has 4 attributes which are name, phone number, driving license and address ID. So talking about them one by one, all of them has cat data types, and driving license is a primary key and address ID is a foreign key which references the address ID attribute of address entity. So let's talk about the next one, which is customer entity. Customer entity has 4 attributes: name, phone number, driving license, address ID with their respective data types. And again here primary key is driving license and address ID is foreign key, which again references the address ID attribute of address entity. So let us now discuss about this entity, which is address entity. It has following attributes, which are address ID, city, street number, province, street name, postal code, and is headquarters, and their respective data types. Address ID is the primary key here. So let us move on to the next one, which is a rental entity. It has these following attributes, which are driving license, return odometer, class code, from location, drop location, from date, to date, tank status, and initial odometer. And their data types have been mentioned here. It do not have any primary key, but it has 4 foreign keys here, which are driving license, which references the driving license attribute of customer entity, and class code, which references the class code attribute of promotion rate entity, and foreign keys of from location and drop location references the address ID attribute of address entity. Now let us move on to the next one, which is promotion rate entity. Promotion rate entity has 4 attributes: amount, percentage, class code, duration, and there is no primary key here, and only one foreign key which references the class code attribute of car class. So car class entity has three attributes: class code, class description, class car, and car location, where class code is the primary key and car location is the foreign key, which references the address ID attribute of address entity. The last we have is drop off charge entity, which has from location, to location, class code attributes, and these are their data types. All of them are foreign keys, where from location and to location reference themselves from the address ID attribute of address entity, and the last one, which is class code, references from the class code and attribute of car class entity. So this was all about our schema. We have covered all the 7 entities.
Now let's have a look at the databases that we have created. Here we have created several tables. First up the list is address table. Here we have several attributes in the table listed with their data type and the constraints. Here we have the address ID attribute, which serves as the primary key. Next up comes the rental table, which also has several attributes, and it also has certain foreign keys. For instance, the drop location is a foreign key which takes its reference from address ID in the addresses table. Also from location, which also takes reference from the address ID attribute in the address table. Driving license, which is also a foreign key, takes its reference from driving license in the customer table. Similarly, class code is also a foreign key which takes its reference from class code in the promotion rate table.
Hi all, I am Pankaj and I will be taking you through the SQL Queries section of our project. In this section, we will be covering the SQL queries, a few SQL queries. Okay, so we have our tables ready and we have inserted a few data points in these tables, and we will be covering a few questions to fetch data out of these tables. So the first question says, get all rentals from City Delhi that are currently rented out. For this, we select all the rentals. We select all things from rentals and address, where rental.from location is equal to address.address ID, and Delhi is equals to Delhi, right? That gives us all the rentals from City Delhi. Then we say rental.toDate is equals to null. That gives us the rentals that are currently rented out, because the toDate is null. So that gives us all the things that we wanted in this question. The second question says, get all customers who are not employees. So for this, we select customer name and their driving license. We left join the customer table with the employee table based on their driving license, and then we say the driving license of the employee is null. Then they are a customer that are not employees. So that is the query for all customers who are not employees. Okay, as you can see in the result here, the first result was this. The second result is this, right? All the customers that are not employees. Okay. The third question says, get max promotion percentage of each class of cars given till date. Okay, so we select the class description, the max promotion rate percentage. From the car class, we inner join it with promotion rate. That is, we get the intersection of both these tables based on class code, and then we group them based on class code and get the max out of it. So it says sedan has 20%, compact 20%, luxury 15%. Okay, the fourth question says, get how many cars of which class were used by employees in the last month. So we select the car class again with class description, and we say, the count of car description. Okay, so we inner join, like in the last case, we take the intersection of the rental, the car class, and the employee table, right? So we get the intersection of all three. Then we say the from date was greater than 3rd March 2022, which signifies the last month, right? Then we say group them based on the class code and get the count of it. So we had by the things that were the cars that were used by our employees, the sedan for 2 for sedan and 1 for luxury. Okay. The fifth question says, get top 5 employees who had maximum rentals in the last month. So we get the information about the employee from we inner the table, we inner join it with the rent table based on driving license. Then again last month, then again we say greater than 3rd March 2022 We group them based on driving licenses, and we order them based on the count of driving licenses because we wanted a top 5, so order them based on the on descending order, and then we say limited by 5 because we only wanted the top 5 employees, right? So here we only have 2 employees, so it shows us 2 employees here. Okay, that's all. Thanks.